Welcome along to Film Talk, and I'm delighted we're joined by the amazing Phil Campbell, one half of the Hammer Runners, who's going to add yet another title to our growing list of films, forming our top 100 greatest films ever made, at least the top 100 in our humble opinion. And Phil,
yes,
the contribution is...
It's got to be an Audrey Hepburn film. I got to have an Audrey Hepburn film, and this one's Roman Holiday.
Roman Holiday?
Yes.
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck.
Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn, directed by William Wyler, 1953. And the first major starring role she had. She'd done other roles before. She'd been in things like Laughter in Paradise, British movies over here, and Secret People, and and was quite well known generally. She was doing Gigi on Broadway and things like that, but not really that well known to Hollywood. So William Wyler wanted to pick an unknown, because she's playing, the story goes, she's playing a Princess Anne from an unspecific European country. You think some Eastern, small
Quite
country.
likely, yes.
And she's doing a tour of Europe to sort of just meet people and generally sort of publicise things and that sort of thing. Including going to Buckingham Palace, as you see at the beginning, as the announcer will announce. And she ends up in Rome on the last part of her trip. She's in Italy, and she's in Rome. She's very tired now by this. She's worn out with having to meet all these dignitaries and various people, and she goes through with it. But on almost the last night she's there, she just thinks, I'm going to escape. She's fed up with it all. She's going to get out somehow. And she manages to sort of go past the guards, slip out into into Rome itself, nightlife. Thing is, every night they give her some milk to help her relax, which makes her quite druggy, quite sleepy. So when she wakes up the following morning, she's ready to do all the things of the day that she has to do and meet all these different people. So when she goes out at night, she's okay for a bit. Then gradually she becomes very, very sleepy and looks like she's drunk. And she ends up sleeping on a park bench, where she's found by Gregory Peck, who's playing this American journalist who's just working in Rome for an Italian newspaper. And he's kind of worried that she's drunk and she's by herself, and he offers to put her in a taxi, etc., to take her to the hotel, but she can't talk coherently because she's sort of slurring her words, and I don't know. So, okay, he takes her back to his place and puts her to bed there, quite legitimately, goes to sleep, and he sleeps somewhere else, just so she can recover. And the following morning she wakes up and can't remember much, but realises something's been going on, and realises that the milk they give her makes her sleep a lot, so she must have been in a bit of a state. He doesn't recognise her. He actually has to interview this princess at a press conference that morning, and doesn't realise it's her until he goes to the newspaper office and explains. He pretends he's interviewed her and things like this, and his boss goes, well, that's very clever, because we just had a press release from the organisation to say that the princess isn't very well, because back at the place where she's staying they find she's gone and they can't let out that she's escaped, so they sort of say she's not well and she's confined to her bedroom, sort of thing. And so he says, how did you manage to interview her? And he goes, and he looks at the picture in the newspaper with the news item saying, the princess is unwell and unable to fulfil her engagements today. And he goes, all right. And he realises he's got the princess back at his place. So he involves his best friend, who's a photographer, played by Eddie Albert, of all people. Eddie Albert, I always think of just in Green Acres. That's all I ever saw him in, and a few other films. But he plays his best friend, the photographer, persuades him to go round and follow what they do, because she says she'd love to spend a day in Rome. And he says, well, I can take you around. Now he's very friendly with her, after wanting to get rid of her because there's a strange woman sleeping in his apartment. He now knows who she is. And so that's the plot, really. For the rest of the film, it's absolutely charming. Audrey Hepburn is just magnificent. It was like a part, they said she was born to play this part.
She's wonderful in the film. When
they were doing the first lot of rushes, because it was all shot in Italy, it was all shot in Spain. They used Cine Teachers studios over there, I think, for interiors, but everything else all shot on location, which is amazing. They shot it in black and white. They wanted to shoot it in black and white because they didn't want the photography, if you like, or the places they go to, like the Spanish Steps and the other places to go, to sort of detract from the drama, if you like. You wanted to follow them. But
okay.
That's their reason anyway. Whether it's for budget reasons, I don't know. The producers didn't want him to film all in. It's the first Hollywood movie to be all shot in location in another country. They didn't necessarily want him to do that, but he got his way. I think they cut the budget down a bit, which is a bit unfair. But the first lot of rushes that went back to the States, when they first saw Audrey Hepburn on screen, everybody was starting to talk, who's this girl, who's this amazing girl, because they hadn't really seen her in anything. And it was just the perfect part from her. Even Gregory Peck was so enamoured with her performance that originally the billing was going to be Gregory Peck in Roman Holiday, and he insisted it should be introducing Audrey Hepburn on a separate card, and he insisted no, she should be up there with him because she's going to win the Oscar, which of course she did the following year. The Oscar, the BAFTA, I think. That was quite a major coup for her.
Nice to hear.
But yeah, it's funny that shooting it all on location, because we get used to now where they close complete streets off and you just get loads of extras milling around in the background. But you can see in certain shots that they have a few extras dealing with the people, but in the distance there's these people putting their heads around, doing the old, what's that camera doing over there, looking like this? And it's
a bit obvious.
Yeah, it's a bit obvious because they probably were shooting on location. I mean, they would have shot Italian films there, but big Hollywood productions, everybody was craning their necks just in shot, unfortunately, in 1 or 2 takes, but never mind. The rest of it's really good.
And it was the launching pad for Audrey Hepburn's
Absolutely.
career. I mean, she's gone on to make some astonishing films.
Oh, lovely. I mean, she's made some wonderful films. I mean, Breakfast at Tiffany's is a classic, and she's brilliant, and it's iconic sort of images. But as a film, I don't know. I think I prefer Roman Holiday. I mean, I love other things she did, like Wait Until Dark, which is really dramatic, and Funny Face, and Charade, which is really good. Yes. But apparently, Cary Grant was originally offered the part in this, but he felt he was too old, and also he felt apparently that he was like second fiddle to the main character, was Princess Anne, character of Audrey Hepburn, which Gregory Peck didn't mind, because at the time they said he wanted to try different things. He was out, he's known for doing all sorts of different characters, so doing a bit of comedy he thought was quite good. Mouth of Truth, where he did a bit of ad-libbing, which you can see when you watch the film. The idea is you put your hand in, and if you've told a lie, it takes your hand off. So I think Audrey Hepburn obviously knew that he was going to put his hand in and go, this, and come out. But he put his hand in, and he knew this trick where we can all do, which is put his sleeve up at the same time. So when his hand came out, it was disappeared like that under the sleeve, and she screams, and you can see that she sort of relaxes for a second, and she's not sort of acting anymore, because she sort of goes, "You beast," like this, and he laughs. It was just one take. They did one take, and that was it, because they got it all. Just like that. And the screenplay is interesting because it was written by Dalton Trumbo, who was blacklisted at the time, so he had to put it through under his friend Ian McKellen Hunter, who won the Oscar for it. And it wasn't until years later, as all these things happened, that the Academy decided that Trumbo should get the Oscar for it. But apparently Ian McKellen Hunter's son wouldn't give it back, so they had to issue another one, which I thought was kind of all right. If you've won the Oscar, you want to hang on to it, don't you? But technically, it wasn't his writing; it was Trumbo's script, so he should have really got it.
All right, so that's the writing.
Yeah.
And all the stars, but just get back to Audrey for a second, because she had a bit of a strange audition.
Yes, she did. The William Wyler wanted to, when she was doing a screen test, he said to the director to filming it, when he says cut, don't cut, keep running, because he wanted to see her natural reaction after delivering the lines and the interview, etc. And that's when he caught her the most appealing, when she was sort of relaxing, and so he knew he could get that sort of relaxed atmosphere out of her. If you see what I mean, he can get more appealing sort of side to her, more relaxed side, and that's what gave her the part, because other people were up for it, but she got it.
Oh, quite right too.
Yeah,
tremendous in the film, of course.
Absolutely, lovely.
Fantastic. So that's Roman Holiday, one of our greatest films of all time. On to our list of the top 100, our growing list. Hopefully we'll get to the 100 sometime in the next few years. And Phil, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.